Vila Enhanced S2 buff, which you can get in her mermaid form, is good if you're using a mental damage DPS that has their damage mainly comes from their incantation, such as Winsong and Marcus. Because aside from the crit and C damage buff, the selected ally will also deal an extra or additional damage based on their card rank. The unfortunate part about this is that your reality DPS can't benefit from the extra crit and C damage layer, because it only applies to the mental damage characters. Hence why she is good if you're using a mental damage DPS. Now, another problem I've found with her is that if you have a bad card RNG like me, then keeping track of her S2 buff is really hard. Surely her ultimate renews her S2 buff duration as well as enhancing it, but her S2 buff only lasts for 2 rounds. And DPS like Winsong doesn't like having the cards on the spell dock being shuffled. At this point, timing doesn't matter if your card RNG is just bad. So it is either you try hard in retrying for the perfect run, or just not using her at all. Now, on the other hand, Tooth Fairy passive can give all enemies a crit and C damage rest down, which is an alternative version to the crit and C damage buff. The cool part is, as long as your allies damage can crit, then they can benefit from this. All you need to activate this passive is to just use your allies' skills, like normal. So even if the F herself doesn't do anything, your ally still can benefit from this. And it is basically uptime if you have a P2 Tooth Fairy. As for the value itself, it is 5% lower from Vila Basic S2 buff. More if we're comparing the value if you're using a mental damage DPS. But if you use the F debuff card, which gives the enemy a confusion debuff, then you reduce the enemy's crit rest further by 25%, which translates to having a 25% crit for your allies' attack. So you have to rely on her debuff card, because it only lasts for 1 round. Your DPS will also lose the extra damage if you're using TF, but it doesn't matter if you couldn't get Vila S2 buff card anyway. In terms of healing, Vila is only good when she is in her mermaid form. Tooth Fairy can heal just fine without any specific requirement. Both can also cleanse from their ultimate. One thing that TF can do, but Vila can't, is that TF can nuke with her ultimate. And speaking of ultimate, there is a 1 round wait time before you can use Vila's ultimate again, so you can't keep her forever in her mermaid form, unlike a certain vampire. In the end, Vila is good if you're a tryhard person and an avid of mental damage DPS. On the other hand, the F is more universal, because everyone can benefit from her, and she's basically good if you are the type of person that easily gets overwhelmed when keeping track of many things.